Hello everyone, today we're going to do a little bit of a posture reset because I'd imagine lots of you have been doing extra gardening, working from home, picking up small children a lot, okay, maybe DIY, painting, decorating, whatever it is, we've probably been, Netflix, whatever it is we've been doing that we've been doing more of than we'd normally do, it has probably been putting your posture a little bit out of whack. So we're going to try and do a bit of a posture reset today. Now, I'm going to be using this, a hedgehog, okay. If you haven't got one of these, you can use a foam roller. So if you've got one of those at home, you could absolutely use that. Or, and this isn't quite thick enough, but a much bigger towel, okay? If you rolled it up, so a big bath towel, so that you've got a nice big tube. This is just a little hand towel, so you want something a bit bigger, and you can use that. You might also have a little release ball that you could use for some of the other work that we do. So if you have got a hedgehog, you're going to love this. So it is a bit of a hedgehog session. I know some of you out there are big fans and have requested some hedgehog work. Okay, but like I said, you can use a towel if you need to, or if you've got your hedgehog, you're going to use your hedgehog. Right, so we're going to start with just a little bit of awareness of the body. So I'm going to put the hedgehog at the side and I'm just going to lie down flat. Okay, so if I come out here. Now, you'll notice, well, you can't see my feet, hang on, I'm going here. Right, can you see how my legs have turned out? Now don't worry if yours haven't, so I just want you to lie and relax. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a body scan. So starting at the top, just feel, does your head actually feel like it's in the middle of your shoulders, or do you feel like your head's tilted and it's closer to one shoulder than the other? So just make sure it's settled in the middle and that you're seeing more of the ceiling in front of you than behind. So maybe your chin feels very lifted and you're looking straight up or behind you. Okay. Do you feel like you've got the same width of shoulder on the mat on each side? And the same pressure? Okay, so just taking your awareness across this part of the back. Now if we take that awareness travelling down the back, so you're not going to move your hands, I want you to just do this with your mind if you can. Do you feel like your ribs are down on the mat, or do you feel like you're resting up on your shoulder blades? Are you up here, or are you down here? So just being aware of that, we're not making any judgments on the body. Okay, and then feeling where the arch is in your back. So does it feel like it's up by your ribs, or down nearer to your hips? And then if we think about the hips, the pelvis, again, have you got the same pressure on each side? Okay, does it feel even? And do you feel like you're resting on your tailbone or resting on your glutes? And then, like I said, with the legs, do they feel relaxed and have they both dropped out to the side evenly? So let go of any tension, anything that you're holding there, just let the legs completely relax. Do they drop out to the side? You might find that only one does, or maybe that both do. Right, from there we are going to come into a little bit of upper body work. Now this is where you can use your foam roller or your towel for this one. Now if you do have any spine density issues in your back, I would not advise doing this on the hedgehog, or certainly if you do, putting something over it, so maybe a double thickness towel. For the rest of us, if you are using a hedgehog, the more layers you have on, the less you're going to feel it. So I've got this really quite thin t-shirt and a very thin vest top, so that I know all those nodules will get in and do the work that I need them to do. So if you've got a great big thick chunky sweatshirt on, you're not really going to feel this one. Now, knees bent, I'm using my hands to support and I'm curling down onto that hedgehog. And I want the bottom of my shoulder blades pretty much at the bottom of the hedgehog. Now that's going to feel horrible on my neck. It's going to strain. So lacing my fingers together and tuck the chin in, drop the head down, neck relaxed. Okay, so from there we're going to drop the elbows out wide and make sure the head stays heavy, the neck is switched off. And we're just going to lean from one side to the other, not going too far, just pressing into one side of the back and then the other. So I'm trying to keep my pelvis still. And you can take this as slowly as you need to. And yes, this still works if you're on a foam roll or a rolled up towel. You're just getting some nice gentle movement rather than the massage. So we're going to stay on one side now, and the elbow that's closest to the floor, I'm just bringing it in and opening out. And one more. And then I'm going to bring that elbow in so that it's cradling my head, it's taking all the weight. And this other arm, I'm going to take it round in a bit of a circle so that I actually roll my shoulder. Okay, so that feels like it's massaging through the whole of that shoulder blade area. So being very aware, especially if you have neck issues, going around the other way, that you keep that head fully supported, okay? Okay, I'm going to do that to the other side now. So going across, elbow nearest the floor, closing in, opening out. And you'll notice how I'm in a tucked under position. I've not let my ribs pop up. I'm thinking of getting the bottom of my shoulder blades down onto the mat. And then bringing that arm in so that I can rest my face against my arm. And we're going into those circles. So this just means that we're moving the tissue in different directions. So we're getting a really good massage. And round the other way. So you always want to go both directions when you're doing some circles. Head staying heavy. And back to centre. Okay, from there I'm actually going to bring myself a little bit further up. So I want that hedgehog a bit further down the body. Okay, so you can see I'm propped a little bit higher up, but I am tucked under. So I feel like I'm doing a sit-up. I'm trying to bring my nose towards my knees. I can feel my abdominals are engaged, but again, I'm going to relax the neck, take the head heavy. Now, without popping the ribs up, so I want to try and keep that tuck, think of sending your ribs towards the hedgehog. Okay, we're going to try and stretch over. This is great for resetting your posture after all that forward bending, flexion from gardening, DIY, working from home, looking after little ones. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, try and keep that bottom rib on the hedgehog. Don't pop back up. You're going to go slowly over and back up again. So head stays heavy, chin stays tucked. You're going over. So you're not going to drop that chin back. Going over. And up. And one more. And up. Lovely. Now to safely come out of that, roll to one side, hand down and coming up. So moving the hedgehog out of the way now. That's the upper part of the back done. Now we need to do the lower part. So particularly great if you get an achy lower back. Now when you come down to the mat, you can feel the difference in this part of your body. Okay, we're coming into a shoulder bridge now, and getting this hedgehog in the right position is really important. Now again, you can do this with your foam roller or your rolled up towel, or if you've got a release ball, you can do this one side at a time. Okay, but you're not going to be on the pelvis, you're going to be more in the lower back. Okay, make sure you're not on the spine or on the pelvis, you're going to be in the fleshy bit here. Okay, if you're using a release ball. Otherwise, hedgehog foam roller, rolled up towel, you're going to be under the pelvis. So I'm going to curl up, and the hedgehog is going underneath this way round, and I want to make sure this bony bit of the pelvis lands on the top and that I can tuck down. Okay, so it's really important that you keep that tuck. Shoulders rolled open. In fact, if you want, you can turn your palms to the ceiling. I'm just going to go into a marching step. So again, if you've got really thick trackies on, you're not going to get the benefit that you would get if you were wearing something a little bit thinner. So these are very thin trackies. They're not all fleecy and warm. So maybe make sure that you do this when the room is nice and warm too, and then you can wear leggings or some thin trackies. I don't often advise shorts when you're using a hedgehog because you end up, well, you're at home, you can see all the marks in your body. It leaves little red marks all over your legs and your back. Okay, from there, hip replacements, pelvic issues, you might want to keep your feet and knees apart. Everyone else, feet and knees together. Let's take the arms a little bit wider. And we're going to roll side to side. Try and keep the ribs still if you can. Now this, unfortunately, isn't great for antenatal clients because it involves you lying on your back for a bit too long. So there are other ways in which we can reduce that backache, so look for those coming on Wednesday night. So rolling from side to side. So this is just about, as we did with the shoulders, moving the tissue in different directions. So now we're staying leaning on this one side. You'll notice I'm not all the way over in my hip. It's not about that, I'm just on one side of the pelvis. Top leg, back to those little marching steps. And you can take your time with this. You can do it as slowly as you'd like to. And we'll do one more. And you don't need to do all that much. Now, bottom knee, staying leaning that way, we're going to drop out and back up. So now you should feel that you're moving that tissue in a different direction, and I actually feel like I've slid. That's better. Now I can feel I'm on the back of my pelvis. Okay, and I can get my ribs down. So I felt a little bit like I was on my glutes too much then. That's the wrong area of the body to work. Okay, last one. Now, top leg again, but this time we're going to use it as a lever to roll the pelvis in little circles. Just kneading into all that connective tissue. And it's going to feel great afterwards. This really does work absolute wonders. Now from there, we need to do some lengthening. So the side that we were leaning on, that's the leg that we're going to lift. Now you're going to stretch up to the ceiling. I know some of you can get your leg past 90, but I'd like you to keep it 90 at the most here. Okay, let's take a big breath in. As you exhale, you're going to flex that foot and tuck the ribs down. I want you to push that heel away from you. So what you're doing is creating as much length in the back of that leg as you can. Keep pushing, hold that tension. And then what we're going to do is we're going to release the tension but keep the legs straight. And we're going into bicycle. Lowering down. Now this is the bit most people miss out. They get about to here and then bend back in. I would like you to lower down till you feel that hip open, stretch here, then bend it back in. Okay, keep those ribs down, stretch in and round. That's it. Big bicycle pedal. Making sure we get that feeling of that hip opening. And placing it back down. Okay, going to the other side now. So starting with our marching steps, that's the top leg. Just tapping that toe down. And you'll notice my knees are travelling over on that diagonal. And this is absolutely fantastic to do after a day's gardening. So dropping that bottom knee down now and back up, dropping out. And again, I'm making sure I don't gradually flare those ribs. Keep them tucked down. Think about pulling your bottom rib towards the mat. So anytime that lower back is feeling really stiff, anytime your posture is feeling a little bit out of kilter, this is a great way to try and help it to reset, to get rid of all that tightness that's holding it in that bad posture. So let's bring that leg up, ready for our circles now. So remember, this isn't about the leg that's moving, it's about that side of the pelvis that's on the hedgehog or your roller or your towel or the ball, and getting it to roll around in circles. And one more. And then back up to pointing the ceiling, ready for our lengthening section. So bring that leg in, extend it up, make sure it's not past 90 if you can get there. Take a breath in, exhale, flex that foot and tuck under. Push that heel towards the ceiling. Push and hold. Just feel that lovely length all the way up the back of the leg. Right, let's start to go into our bicycle. So keep those ribs tucked down and try to feel that stretch. There it goes, in the front of the hip. Circle it back up and round. Okay, ribs down, stretch the front of the hip and up and round. So as big a bicycle pedal as you can manage. Exhale. And again, last one. And placing that foot down. Okay, from there, let's just push back up, slide the hedgehog out, roll back down, and lengthen the legs out. Okay, that feels so much better. So now let's do that body scan again. Just see if anything's changed. If it hasn't, don't worry, it might be that you need to do this a few times and work on some other exercises to do with posture, but it might just help you feel a bit better. Okay, so if your head felt like it was more over to one side than the other, does it feel now like it's a little bit more in the middle? And then if you think about the arch in your neck, okay, does that arch feel more like it's up by your skull rather than down by your shoulders? So by that I mean your chin feels nodded and you're looking that way rather than that way. Okay, shoulders wide. Can you feel that you've got the same pressure on each side? The same length of shoulder on each side? Or does it still feel different? Don't worry if it does. Maybe it feels less different, but still different. That's okay. And then if we think about the rib cage and the shoulder blades, are you up on your shoulder blades or are you down, resting on your rib cage? So transferring that to the back, that would mean that the arch in your back is either going to be higher at the ribs or higher at the hips. So just notice where that is. And then if we think about the pelvis, have you got even pressure on each side or more even than it was? Okay, and then the legs, do the legs feel relaxed? Are they both turned out now? Do they feel relaxed? Do those hips feel switched off? And that is your posture reset for today. So if you have a hedgehog, please use that. If you haven't, you've got a big rolled up towel, a foam roller at home, something that you can use, or even a release ball or a tennis ball, please do have a go, because it does feel absolutely wonderful once you've done all of that. So take care, and I will see you back for live classes on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.